So Viktor Axelsen, former world and current All England champion, recently shared this video of him carrying out some of his S&C training or strengthened conditioning work. Many people commented asking what Viktor was doing and debated why it was or wasn't good for badminton because it doesn't look anything like badminton. What we need to realise is that strengthened conditioning is support work, and it doesn't need to look like the sport to help the sport. In fact, it can actually be harmful to our movement skill to overload exact movement patterns without taking into consideration the speed, size and timing of muscular contractions relative to how we load them up. It's only when we highlight some of the extreme positions that are required for sport success that we realise simulating the sport at every opportunity risks overloading the body to breaking point, and complementary training is the way forwards. So if training doesn't look like the sport, what are we influencing? And this is where the load-capacity relationship comes into play. So if the load is everything the sport throws at the body, the capacity is hopefully the body's ability to tolerate that load. So let's break this down. If we only train at the level of the sport, we can risk injury because the stress imposed by the sport, the load, and the ability to tolerate that load, your capacity, sit on the same threshold. So it makes sense that your physical training should exceed the reach of your technical training so that your body can more readily tolerate the demands of the sport. So we're talking the ability to handle muscular contractions, eccentric braking force, isometric transitions, concentric accelerations, and strengthened connective tissue, tendons, ligaments and bone. This raises the injury threshold from the level of the sport skill to that of your physical capacity, and hopefully gives you a protective window to push the boundaries of your sport. So if we go back to Viktor, and the exercise he was doing is called a Turkish Get Up. You can use a dumbbell or a kettlebell. This exercise has many benefits, and it can indirectly bulletproof the throwing arm without exposing the athlete to the kind of stress we see in the picture on the left, where the baseball pitcher is in the layback position, and these are the kind of forces that are imposed on the body with repeated throws. So instead of trying to load up the throwing action, we can look to develop the structures within the body that help stabilize the shoulder during an overhead hitting action and tolerate the forces at work. This exercise really is a catch-all exercise to strengthen the rotator cuff and promote shoulder stability in the front, side and overhead positions to keep the upper arm secure in the socket.